الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله قال الله تعالى في القرآن الكريم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون وقال الله رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Inshallah, to all the sisters, we will begin with our morning dua. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka hamidun majid. Allahumma bika asbahna wa bika amsayna wa bika nahya wa bika namut wa ilayka nushur. Bismillahillazi la yadurru ma'asmihi syai'un fil ardi wala fis sama'i wa huwa as-sami'ul alim. Raditu billahi rabba wa bil islami dina wa bi Muhammadin nabiyya. Allahumma zidni ilman nafi'a wa rizqan tayyiba wa amalan mutaqabbala. Ya muqallibal qulub thabbit qulubana ala dinik wa ala ta'atik. Allahumma adkhilna jannatak wa ajirna minan nar. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azaban nar. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamu warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Taqabbalallahu minna wa minkum. May Allah accept all our deeds, our prayer, our sawm, our 6 days of Shawwal for those who have trying on those who have finished their 6th day or who are still fasting to complete the 6 days. May Allah make it easy for all of us. May Allah forgive all our sins, which the Prophet ﷺ have promised us in the hadith from Abi Huraira that whoever fasts with the right intention and hope for Allah's pleasure, Allah will forgive their sin through fasting. Allah will forgive your sin through Qiyam and also Laylatul Qadr. To all the sisters especially, there is a big difference between the way we Muslim today seeking knowledge and the way the companion of the Prophet ﷺ respond to knowledge. The Sahaba have a very unique character. The character of the Sahaba is known to all of us as Sami'na wa Ata'na. When they learn something, when they hear something from the Prophet ﷺ, meaning when the hadith is being mentioned to them, they will just listen carefully when they understand it and they will just act upon it. Today, we still have the same hadith, the same ayat, but we do not respond the same way like the companion have responded. That is our first basic difference between we and the Sahaba. And that's why Allah give them the title radiyallahu anhum. They are very pleased to Allah, then Allah is very pleased to them. We are trying our best to make sure that whatever little knowledge we have acquired, we will try to implement within ourselves and our family first. Then we will try to remind our fellow Jama'ah who are close to us, our neighbors, and whoever that we are in contact with, so that the knowledge of Islam will spread, and will benefit all of us. We have seen a lot of things happening even in Ramadan, and also in a few days of Eid day. People pass away, friends, revert, who die without any Muslim family pass away. Alhamdulillah, we all managed to help them to solve whatever problem that they encounter. But what we learn from what is happening today is, if you go back to before coming to the topic of visiting the grave, we are supposed to talk about visiting the grave. We are just going to remind ourselves about the adab of the burial. Number one, we know that as our duty when you enter the graveyard, we should enter with the first adab to give the salam. Assalamualaikum ya ahlad diyar mina muslimin wal muslimat wa inna insha'Allah bikum lahiqun. Example. This is the first adab. It's like you enter a house. When you enter a masjid, you have to make tahiyatul masjid if you want to sit. The same, you enter the maqbara, you should start with giving salam. The second thing that saddened me when I'm around sometimes, but normally I try to remind, is that those who are participating in bringing down the body, a lot of people do not know what to say. It's a very simple guidance from our Prophet ﷺ, that whoever who is bringing down the dead body to the lahad, just say Bismillahi wa ala sunnati Rasulillah or wa ala millati Rasulillah. There are many ways for us to recite this short prayer, but the minimum Bismillah wa ala millati Rasulillah or Bismillah wa ala sunnati Rasulillah or Bismillah wa billah and then wa ala sunnati Rasulullah. Or the last one, Bismillah wa fi sabilillah wa ala sunnati Rasulillah. Very short. I think the easiest one is the first and the second, Bismillah wa ala sunnati Rasulillah or Bismillah wa ala millati Rasulillah. These are some prayer that the Prophet ﷺ have taught us. Why? Because we know that after a while, the dead person will be questioned by Allah, by the angel of Munkar wa Nakir. That's why we say Bismillah wa ala millati Rasulillah. And sometimes people do not know which one should go down first, which part of the body should go down first. Normally, the Prophet ﷺ will encourage us, if possible, to put the leg down first. Of course, you don't put it straight down. When you hold the dead body, the leg will go down first, slowly, then the head will follow. The third thing that we remind the family members, especially for those who are going down to the grave, normally they will require 3 male to go down. The one, the caretaker of the graveyard, or those who have been digging the grave, they will say 3 of the family members should go down. So we also forgot to ask, to check everybody who are among those who have a relationship intimacy with their wife last night, they are not supposed to go down. But to ask this in front of everybody, it may embarrass somebody, and they may not want to tell you the truth. So the best thing we have to do is, while we are in the mosque performing the prayer, or we're waiting, we should know who is going down. And then from then, the son, normally, the best one is the son, will have to check with their sibling or to check with their close relative. Do we have any intimacy? If none, then we confirm 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And this also is not been done. Yeah. We cannot depend on the caretaker of the kubur, yeah, maqbara. They don't know. Majority don't know the rule, the adab. Yeah. We also remind ourselves that it's important for us who, the elders especially. Of course, the last exercise we have, the experience we have is that the children, alhamdulillah, is highly recommended to lead the funeral prayer. Yeah? If they have the knowledge. If they don't have, then of course somebody can assist them. Yeah? Highly recommended by the son, yeah, to lead the funeral prayer. And we know that funeral prayer is very simple. The only dua that we may not memorize all is the dua and the takbir for the deceased. Then you can just repeat if you want. Yeah? But this is something not difficult to memorize. Yeah? At least the dua that we can recite is Allahumma fili hayna wa maytina wa shahidina wa ghaibina. Because when we talking about male and female, we get confused sometimes, who and ha. So it's better to say Allahumma fili hayna wa maytina wa shahidina. The na all end with na. Yeah? We hope that will be something important for us to remind our children, our son, from now. For those who have elderly son, it's good to check on them with this prayer. This is at least something that they can do for us. Very sad. We have give our children everything, almost everything they need in this life. Yeah? We give them a good education, a good environment, comfortable life. The little when we need from them, at least they pray for us. They will participate, but we love if they can lead the funeral prayer. And sometimes this thing will caught them by surprise. Quickly they will know that if the mother is the one who passed away, then they will stand in the middle of the dead body. If it's a male, they stand where the head is. Sometimes when they want to try, they don't know where to stand. They get nervous sometimes. They get nervous. So this is something that we feel very sad, because we have been attending funeral prayer many times, but we are not preparing ourselves, to remind our loved one, or even between husband and wife. Then the husband must learn how to perform the prayer. He can lead the prayer. These are few things that I like to highlight earlier, just to make sure that we are prepared. Because anything can happen to all of us. So we hope that Allah will make it easy. Especially the reverts, they may have more issues because none of their family, they are Muslims, and we have to come in to help them. And later on, they also want to have their tahlil. Sometimes they may ask us for opinion. We have that because the Muslims have their traditional way of doing this, and sometimes they also want to do something from their side. This is where we should make them understand that they don't have to do it. If they are going to do it, we cannot participate because we are encouraging them to make shirk. Yeah, it's wrong. Yeah. Inshallah, yeah, may Allah make it easy for all of us. Yeah. We just have to get ourselves more prepared, inshallah. Now let us come back to the book, yeah, chapter 10, about the adab of visiting the grave. We know that Islam never stopped any one of us to visit the grave. Even it's not a Muslim graveyard, you can still enter the grave. The important thing is visiting the grave is to remind all of us who are still living, that sooner or later we will have to follow them. So it is recommended to visit the graves for the purpose of getting admonishment and remembering the hereafter. We have to remind ourselves. However, one may not associate the visit with anything that would anger Allah, displeasing Allah, such as supplicating to the dead, invoking their existence, wailing over them, or performing any of the action prohibited in Islam. Now look at the discussion, inshallah. Buraidah bin al-Husayb reported that Allah subhanallah, Allah's messenger Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Inni kuntu nahitukum an ziyar al-kubur. I had prohibited you from visiting the grave. Now visit them, because they will remind you of the hereafter. And may your visits benefit you. Now the reason that the Prophet prohibited a lot of people visiting the grave, especially the women, is because of the culture that they are used to before. They do a lot of things that is against Islam. So prevention is better than cure. If you know that they are so traditional, they just want to do a lot of things that is wrong. Example, bringing flowers and all these things. This is very common until today. We decorate our grave like how the Jahiliyyah decorate their grave. So these are something that the next of kin must be very firm. We know that sometimes we have good friends, we have relatives who love us so much, they have good intention, but if they are coming with flower, we can accept the flower, we put the flower in the house. That's all. Because a graveyard is a graveyard, it's not a garden. But sometimes maybe majority of us, when you are facing this musibah, you may not have the time to look into all these things. So it's good for us to always prepare ourselves, put an SOP, they said, write down what you want to check on. So if something happen, we have to remind everybody, check on this, so that we can minimize the un-Islamic activities on the Muslim death, or also at the graveyard. Now the Prophet ﷺ said that he did forbid us to visit the grave. Now he said, you will visit them because they will remind you of the hereafter. And may your visit benefit you. Thus, whoever wish to visit them, let him do so, but do not say heedless word. Don't talk nonsense anymore. Sometimes you go to the graveyard, you still talk about the worldly things. You never learn. Everybody is encouraged by the Prophet when you visit the grave or when you're going to pray for the deceased. If you remember him, At any point of time, what he have done good, just talk about his good thing or his good deeds. Just talk about that. We know that nobody is perfect. Somebody is good in this, and at the same time they are doing something that's wrong. Nobody is perfect. We always must say things that please the family members, so that it lessens their fitna. You know, the Prophet, remember the prayer we always recite in our daily prayer or the sunnah prayer. Allahumma inni a'udzubika min azabi jahannam wa min azabi qabri wa min fitnatil mahya wal mamat. We keep on asking Allah to protect us, you know, from the fitna when we are still alive and the fitna when we die. Sometimes people may not talk or they don't have the gut to say anything bad about us when we are alive. You know, we may come after them, but when we are dead, they feel so free to say anything they want. But the Prophet said, if you want to go to be around in the environment, the graveyard, or if you want to participate in the prayer, don't talk anything bad anymore. Even sometimes the day, yeah, or the way the brother or the sister died, it's not a good ending. Yeah? It's not a good ending, but you don't talk about the bad. It's not easy to judge a person sometimes. Sometimes people may say, well, he died at the nightclub. Wow. Before that, he seemed to be a good person. But how can a good person die in the nightclub? Or die at the nightclub? But we don't know why he was there. Nobody knows. Is there some people, yeah, call him urgently, yeah, to seek his advice, and the person do not want to come to our environment, they want us to go to their environment? We don't know. Yeah. So it's better to not to make any comment or say anything that is not good. If not, you better don't be around that area. Stay away. Easier for you, and then leave it to Allah Rabbul Alameen to make the final judgment. Yeah? It's not easy to understand all these things, yeah? But we just have to have this adab. Yeah? If you want to be there, make sure that you do not say heedless word, anything that is not good. I had prohibited you from eating the sacrifices meat beyond 3 days. Yeah? Now you may store as much as it is as you wish. This is also the continuity of what the Prophet did forbid in the beginning, and then he allowed later on. Sometime in Islam, in the beginning, because of the situation, yeah, the Prophet forbid so that we do not imitate others. Then when the situation is changing, people are learned now, they know what to do, what not to do, then he allowed. Now the meat of the sacrifice is when you are performing Hajj. I still remember when I was a student in the 70s, you can see that most of the animal that is being slaughtered for adhiyah, for Qurban, is being buried, because you have maybe millions, yeah, of animal, especially goat, is being slaughtered. So they have no time, yeah, to eat. Neither they can send it outside. At that time they say all the Qurban meat only can be eaten by the people in Medina, in Mecca. No, not even in Medina, in Mecca, in Haram, in the place that you involve Hajj. That means you can eat if you're staying in Arafah, Muzdalifah, Mina, you know, nobody stay there. So the one that is going to have the meat is the people of Mecca. So a lot of people, the restaurant owner and so on, they'll send a lot of their workers to pick up. How can they keep all this meat for so long? They can't. So they can't do anything except they have to dig a big hole. The bulldozer will come and then will push all these dead animals and bury them. It's a waste, of course. But later on they realized that the Prophet ﷺ do allow this meat to be eaten even after the 3 days. And that's why the idea of canned packet was introduced later on. If not, no. That's why in the earlier time, people who go to Hajj, you will see that they will do their own slaughtering wherever they are, and then after that, they will do all the cleaning up, and they do the salai the meat. They salai the meat because the weather is very hot there. So you salai and then you bring home. For you as your own, the one who made the korban, you can, but you cannot send it over other than Makkah and the Haram area. But Alhamdulillah, today if you see, Alhamdulillah, there is all the service, they will can it, but you have to pay extra, then they will send to the poor country. So this is happening, meaning the meat that was not allowed for you to eat between the 3 days, now you can. And I had prohibited for you drinking grape juice except from a water skin. This is how they store all this drink. Now you may drink it from any container. Last time they only used, they use what? They use the water skin kind of container. But now the Prophet said, you can use any container, but this grape juice turn to be something that intoxicate you, it become a liquor that intoxicate you, then you cannot drink anymore. It's just like today, if you want to drink what they call niraga. Nira is from the coconut tree. Nira is very, very tasty. And Nipah also you can come. You got from Nipah also, Nira. I love Nira, but I only get it normally at Palace. Even Kedah, people are not so used to it now. So normally my Jama'ah, when I'm in Palace, when they want to visit me, they have organized that already. So everybody will have a good Nira drink. It's very sweet, very sweet. But after a while, if you are not careful, the Nira will change. Then you know it can be tuak already. It's a cheap kind of liquor. So once it turns into something that can intoxicate you, you know that is haram. Abu Sa'id al-Qudri reported that Allah's Messenger ﷺ even said in another hadith, I had prohibited you from visiting the graves, so visit them. Mean now you can, because they provide admonishment, but do not say anything that would anger Allah Rabbul Alameen. Allah don't like you to talk bad to anybody who is still alive. If they are wrong, if you can advise them, ad-dinu nasiha. If you can't advise them, pray for them. And these are things that we can do. Just pray for them. Because nobody is perfect, But the beauty thing that I like to share with all the good sisters today, look at the prayer of the prophets. Not only through our prophet Yunus alayhi salam. When he want to ask Allah for something, he did not just come and, oh Allah give me this, Allah give me that. No. When he was in the stomach of the fish, the whale, what he just recite and talk to Allah is La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin. Just by chanting this, Allah save him. What do you learn by this dua? It's a dua that you, number one, acknowledge who is Allah. Do not commit shirk with Allah. If you want Allah to answer to your prayer, your needs, first you must acknowledge Allah, tawheed Allah, and also do not commit any shirk with Him. Then you acknowledge, you glorify Allah Rabbul Alameen. Yeah. Meaning you mention all His Asma'i al-Husna. Then you admit your wrongdoing. Kuntu minas zalimin. Just admit. We just have to admit our wrongdoing to Allah. The rest you leave it to Allah. You see, the prayer that Yunus asked, he didn't ask more than that. He just said, La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minas zalimin. He's a prophet. He felt that he may have wronged himself by running away. He tried to escape from his people because he had been trying to call them to change. They refused to change. So he gave up. You remember the ayat, the most important ayat, like what Imam Shafi'i said. If you understand Surah Al-Asri, it's enough. Surah Asri to represent the whole Quran. Talking about time, talking about human, we all are losers, and then talking about the believers and the sign of the believer. If you don't believe, you are a loser. But when you believe in Allah, and you are still a loser if you believe in Allah, you do not follow up with action. Belief must follow up with action. Belief have a lot of thing to do with character building. And then you must call people to what is right, what tawasaw bil haq. And why Allah said what tawasaw bis sabr after that? Because when you are calling people to do something good, not everybody will respond. Even you call them to do good thing, they won't respond. And that of course hurt us sometimes. And you want to forbid something, from doing something, it's not easy for them to follow too. But you need to have patience. We know, even we tell people, don't do this, but they still do. We need to have a lot of patience. If not, we are going to curse them. We are going to be very judgmental. We just keep on doing what we have to do. Things that can anger Allah are things that when we do something, we have no patience. And who are we to judge the people? Prophet Adam alayhi salam, what is his dua? Rabbana dhalamna anfusana wa illam taghfirna wa tarhamna lanakunanna minal khasirin. He acknowledged that he have done something wrong to himself. Maybe have doing something that is not right. Only Allah knows best, of course. But it's important when we want our prayer to be answered by Allah. You acknowledge Allah, the all-forgiving, the all-loving, the one who accepts our repentance, and you glorify Him, and you admit your wrongdoing. You don't have to sit in front of people. It's a beautiful dua. Admit. It's very hard to admit our wrongdoing sometimes. Because we are being human, feeling. We want to say that person wrong first, not we. We all have our own weaknesses. May Allah help us to get closer to Him, inshallah. The other hadith, also Anas bin Malik reported that our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam have said, "Kuntu nahaytukum an ziyarat al-qubur." I had prohibited you from visiting the grave, so visit them now, because that soften the hearts, make the eye tears, and remind all of us about our hereafter. But do not say haters word. Don't say anything that is negative. Yeah? Imam An-Nawawi said the early prohibition was because of their closeness to Jahiliyyah. In the beginning of Islam, we still see a lot of people who don't understand Islam as a way of life, still follow their tradition and culture. Yeah? It's like today, the worst thing that we heard from our neighbor country, you have another group of Muslims who is trying to introduce Islam a la their country. That means no more saying Assalamu alaikum. This is Arabic. We are not Arab. We just said Selamat, Sejahtera. No. Everything they are saying is not necessary, because we are Indonesian, we are Singaporean, okay, or we are Thai, example. So we speak our language, we use our way of greeting. So you don't have to dress. Of course, you don't have to dress like an Arab. As long as you cover yourself, it's fair enough. But sometimes you may have some issue. Some people may think that to be a better Muslim, you must dress like an Arab. No. You know that Prophet wear jubba. Abu Lahab also wear jubba. Abu Jahal also wear jubba. It's just a dress. Sometimes you have that also problem that people are worried, are we going to introduce the Arab culture more than Islam? So we also are confused. It makes another group confused. They say now we are going to introduce this new concept of Islam. Islam a la whatever country you belong to. This is very, very dangerous. When you allow that to happen, now the prayer will not be in Arabic anymore. Everything, azan can change. It happened once. You remember where it happened? Anyone recall? It happened once in our history. Anybody recall where it happened once? It happened in Turkey before. The father of the so-called civilization then said no. Even azan, prayer, anything is in Turkish. That is the beginning of the downfall of that empire. We have to learn what have happened earlier. It's a reminder. Don't change. Before Islam, the Persian have their own civilization. The Roman have their civilization, and their civilization is a reference point for the West until today. But what Islam provide for us, Islam introduced the new world order, a very comprehensive one. That's how the companion radiallahu anhum commit themselves to Islam. They do not follow any other civilization. They just follow the Quran and the Sunnah. And they become so civilized, so disciplined, so clean, respected by their enemy and their friend. Even their enemy who dislike them because they are calling to Tawheed, but they have to respect them, that they are the best leader. They have the best example because they have the best character. Allahu Akbar. Now, before I continue, I just remember something that Allah reminds us in Surah Al-Anfal, Surah 8, verses 75. وَأُولُو الْأَرْحَامِ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلَى بِبَعْضٍ فِي كِتَابِ اللَّهِ. Allah said, وَأُولُو الْأَرْحَامِ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلَى بِبَعْضٍ فِي كِتَابِ اللَّهِ. Blood relatives have more right to one another in Allah's scripture, in the book of Allah. Meaning the blood relative of the dead have more right to place the body in the grave. Based on the general meaning of this ayah. If you have friends, you have the one who have more right that we should honor them first is the blood relationship, between the family members. For husband and wife, other than the son, is the husband. They have more right. If the husband want to go down, we should give priority to the husband, because they are the closest. These are all things that is important for us to understand. Now, when you visit the grave, brothers and sisters, and there's no brothers today, alhamdulillah. There's a brother? No. No brother completely. Alhamdulillah. Remember always the hadith that I just quote. نحيتكم عن زيارة القبور فزوروها فإن في زيارتها تذكرة. Because by visiting the grave there is a lot of benefit, inshallah. What is the first benefit? The first benefit is to remind us that sooner or later we are going to go to the same place. So according to Nawawi, the earlier prohibition was because of their closeness to the Jahiliyyah. We still have a lot of other tradition involved. When it was likely for them to say some of the heedless words that were said during Jahiliyyah, after the foundation of Islam become well established, meaning people have the right understanding, the right knowledge, its ruling is very clear and its characteristic distinctive, they were permitted to visit the grave. And the Prophet ﷺ took precaution by telling them not to say heedless word. Needless to say, many of the things said by the common people in our time when they visit the grave today, something still happening today. Is the World Cup still on? Still on. See, people who are addicted to this, they will send their loved one to the Qubur. They may be busy talking about the World Cup. That is called all a heedless word. That means you are not learning at all. That's why if you look at the hadith, give salam is to remind us, you are there, we are going to follow you soon. But we never learn. So these are things actually should be reminded by the imams, by the khatib, Jummah, to guide the general public. How about women now? Ruling, the above recommendation to visit grave applies to both men and women, because the Prophet ﷺ's above statement are general in this regard. This is most clear from Buraida's above hadith, in which the Prophet ﷺ permitted other things that he had prohibited earlier, and no one ever said that those apply only to men. Also, the purpose for which Allah's Messenger ﷺ permitted visiting the grave, softening the heart, making the eye tears, and reminding of the hereafter. It is applicable to both men and women, inshallah. Yeah? Furthermore, the Prophet has allowed the woman to visit the grave during his lifetime. There is also example. Yeah? Abdullah bin Abi Mulaika reported that he once saw Aisha radiallahu anha coming from the direction of the graveyard in Mecca. Graveyard that is near in Mecca is, yeah, is where? No. That is Medina. Mecca is where the graveyard, it's not far, it's very close to Masjid Jinn. Yeah, but it's further from the Haram to the graveyard compared with Medina. The mosque of the Prophet is very close to Baqi. Yeah. He asked her, "O mother of the believer, whence are you coming, from where you come?" She replied, "From the grave of Abdurrahman bin Abi Bakr." Who is Abdurrahman bin Abi Bakr? Her brother. The one that the Prophet commanded him to bring her to perform Umrah. Yeah. Why she went out to perform Umrah? You remember? Yeah. Because the Prophet commanded her to make Hajj Tamatta. Hajj Tamatta means you perform Umrah before Hajj. So happened she was having her menses, so she can't completed her Umrah. When the 8th of Zulhijjah, if anybody who is performing Hajj Umrah, Hajj Tamatta, if you fail to perform Umrah before the 8th of Zulhijjah, then you have to change your intention to Hajj already. No more Umrah now. You stop. Yeah, the Umrah ended there. Now you change your intention to Hajj. Yeah? Then after Hajj, because Hajj will take you at least about 5 days. Yeah? Then when you are clean again, then you can go out to Tanaim or Jirana, the closest border, and come in and perform your Umrah. Normally, Hajj Tamatta, you perform Umrah before Hajj. But for the woman who have this problem, the Prophet command her to break her Umrah, perform Hajj now, and then after that, you perform your Umrah. And he command Abdurrahman, the brother, to bring her to the, what do you call this? Jirana and Tanaim, Miqat. To the miqat. Now when she said that she replied, "From the grave of Abdurrahman bin Abi Bakr," he asked, Abdullah bin Abi Mulaika asked her, "Had not Allah's Messenger, Prophet Muhammad prohibited visiting the grave?" She replied, "Yes, but later permitted visiting them." Yeah? Muhammad bin Qais bin Makramah bin al-Muttalib reported that Aisha radiallahu anha told him, "One night when it was my turn with Allah's Messenger, he retired to bed, laid down his upper garment, took off his shoes and put them near his feet, spread the edge of the izar and lied down. He only waited until it appeared that I was asleep." Yeah? So he quietly took his upper garment, quietly put on his shoes, quietly opened the door and stepped out, and quietly closed it. This is all the adab, quietly. So don't disturb the one who is sleeping. I put my dress through my head, wore my head cover, wrapped the izar around myself, and ran after him until he reached Al-Baqi. He stood for a long time and raised his hand 3 times. Then he turned around and I turned. He heard it and I heard it. He ran and I ran until he reaches the house. And I reached them and I then hurried ahead of him and entered my house. I had just lied down when he entered. He said, "What is wrong with you, Aisha?" Panting and your abdomen rising and failing. That one we know calling. Yeah? When you run, you always have that. Yeah? I replied, "Nothing, O Messenger of Allah." He said, "You either tell me or the most subtle and well aware Allah will tell me." Yeah? So I said, "May my father and mother be a ransom for you." Oh Allah's Messenger, I told him what had happened. He said, "So you were the black thing that I saw before me." Yeah. When you say black thing, meaning they always, the woman always dress black. Yeah? In the Arabs tradition, you can see until today. And so they can identify male or female from a distance by looking at the color. Yeah? He pushed me a painful push in the chest and said, "Do you think that Allah and His Messenger would be unfair to you by giving your rightful time to another wife?" I said, whatever that he's trying to say that you know, maybe you're thinking that I'm going other area. No, I'm going to the graveyard, you know. But this only happened to Aisha always. A lot of strange things happen to Prophet life only with Aisha, because she's the youngest one, you know. The young one very proactive, you know, very sensitive, you know. So for those who are more elderly, they are very settled. Yeah? They are very settled. That's why it's important for us to differentiate. If we are the old couple, we must know how to solve our problem wisely. The young couple, then you have to help them. Yeah? Help them. They need good advice sometimes. Yeah? There are many things that happen for women who visit the grave. It happened also in the time. It's not written in this book yet, but in other book. Yeah. When the Prophet found a woman crying in the graveyard, he did not chase her out of the graveyard, but told her not to cry. And Anas ibn Malik qala, marra an-nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam bi imra'atin tabki in the qabri, faqala ittaqillah wasbiri. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed by a woman crying beside a grave. So the Prophet just said to her, "Fear Allah, ittaqillah wasbiri." Fear Allah and have sabar. Patient. Of course, this woman did not know that the one who is telling her is the Prophet. She was very upset. She raised her voice and the Prophet just moved on. Then other people came later on and remind her, "Do you know who you are talking to just now?" Then after she realized, then she stopped crying. And then she just left. One of the days she went and visited the Prophet and asked him for forgiveness. Said that she didn't have the intention to disrespect our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that is why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam even said that. Now she said to the Prophet, "I have patience now. I understand that I must have patience." So the Prophet did mention in a general hadith, patience is when you are tested by the trial, not after a few days. No? When you are tested, You know how to control your temper. You know how to do what you think you should do, guided by the Quran Sunnah. Not just say anything you want to say, later on, I'm okay now. Yeah. Yeah. Now, after mentioning this hadith, then we realize that the woman also can visit the grave. The other hadith, yes, verily Jibreel came to me when you saw that. He called me without letting you hear. He's talking to Aisha now. And I responded to him without letting you know. Now, the Prophet responding to Gabriel. He was not to enter into your house after you have laid down your clothes. I thought that you had slept and hated to wake you up and feared that you would feel lonely if you knew that I was leaving. He told me your Lord command you to go to the dead people of Baqi and ask forgiveness for them. A lot of things that happened to the Prophet ﷺ. The first important thing that the family or the ummah must have is husn zan. Don't judge the Prophet. You remember that one of the prayer, the day prayer, the Prophet only prayed 2 rakat. You cannot judge, oh, the Prophet must be so busy thinking of dunya, he forget the number of rakat. That means you are judgmental, you are judging the Prophet that he is not focused in his prayer. You can't. But the good feeling of the Sahaba, some of them say, maybe he just received another revelation. This is a good thought. Maybe he received another revelation that for today, the noon prayer or the day prayer can be shortened to 2 rakat. But they just want to reconfirm. Because sometimes when something happened, the Prophet never say anything yet. Until somebody remind him. Allah allowed this thing to happen. You remember when there another incident, the Prophet commanded the companion to move close to his member in Masjid Nabawi. Then they follow his instruction, but then the Prophet was stepping up on the member, the 3 steps. And then he said, Amin, Amin, Amin. And then he turned back, looked at his companion, and he walked down without saying anything. Sometimes there are certain things happen, there is a reason, but we must not judge him at all. That's why in the ayat you have a hadith under the ayat that remind us that the Prophet have more right upon us than our parent. But the strange thing about this hadith is, your Lord command you to go to the dead people of Al-Baqi and ask forgiveness for them. I said, what should I say for them, O Allah messengers? He instructed, Assalamu alaikum. And Assalamu ala ahli diyan. Also you can say, oh, Assalamu alaikum ya ahli diyar minal mu'minin wal muslimin. And you can also continue by Yarhamullah. Yarhamullahu mustaqdimina minna wa mustaqirin wa inna insha'Allah bikum la lahikun. There are many ways to recite the prayer. You can say it without wa yarhamullah al mustaqdimin minna wa mustaqirin. Just go to wa inna insha'Allah bikum la lahikun. Mean peace be on the dweller of these places, the kubur, of believers and Muslims. We know that after the Muslims have established their Islamic, what called the Islamic ruling, then the kubur is being separated. Muslims have their own cemetery, and the not yet Muslim will have their own. In the beginning, they just bury wherever they can, but later on they have separated it. You know? That's why when you go to the Muslim graveyard, you pray to the believers and the Muslim, may Allah have mercy upon the earlier one who died and the later among us. Certainly we will follow you when Allah will. Yeah? We have to go there too, yeah, sooner or later. The Prophet do allow us to put some sign, yeah, but not a heavy or well decorated, just a sign to put that this is where our father is being buried. Because the Prophet also allowed that the family members can be buried close, yeah, to their loved one. He do allow that to happen, so that's why the sign is there. In case if there's still space, you can do it. Yeah? But our graveyard is a bit different, yeah, because we have extended, and then we have concrete kind of building that stop, yeah, us to bury close to each other. Yeah? We are just like they're not yet Muslim. They have to buy the lot. It's theirs, so nobody have the right to do anything. Yeah? It become a private property. Yeah? Maqbara is a waqf land. Always remember that. Yeah? But the best thing to do when somebody passes away is to be buried in a place that is closer to them, to make things easier. Yeah? You don't have to move so far away. But we hope Allah will help us to have a better spirit about helping, yeah, the Muslim to be buried in a place that is near to their place where they die. Yeah? This must come from the authority, because now people are trying to, yeah, control graveyard. They don't only control the living, they even control the dead one. You know? They decide where you will be buried. You know? Al-Hafiz took this hadith as an evidence that it is permissible for the woman to visit the graves. You know, visiting the grave today, we see people like to bring water, flower. Don't do that. Yeah? People want to bring Quran. Don't have to do that. That's why if you go to Makkah, Medina, you visit grave, you use Quran, the caretaker will come and just take it away from you. Especially in Uhud. Yeah? They have to give you a very strong reminder, but if you still don't pay attention, any book that you hold to recite, whatever dua facing the kubur, you see the people who are in charge, so they will come and just pull it out from your hand. They won't ask permission, they just take it away, and then they want you to fold them to the container, to the office, and that's where they will give you some briefing. What are you doing? What are you reciting? Yeah? Because you just give salam and make dua. May Allah forgive the dead people. Yeah? That is the most important thing. That's why the Prophet said, Istaghfiru li aqikum. Yeah? Ask Allah to forgive their sins. Yeah? So this is the few things that I like to share with you. Yeah? The important thing also, brothers and sisters, remind our young people who are visiting the grave, yeah, to learn, yeah, yeah, to get themselves prepared. Yeah. Imam Al-Qurtubi, I just want to mention in other book, yeah. Hussain bin Thabit narrated that Allah's Messenger ﷺ cursed women who frequently visit graves. The Prophet don't like that. Yeah. You can, but don't make it like something that you do frequently. La'ana Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam zuwarat al-qubur. The Prophet used the word zuwarat for the woman. Yeah? They said frequent visitation of grave by woman is not permissible. I know sometimes we are very loving couple, we miss our loved one. whether it's our husband, our father, or our son, our children. But don't go to the grave too frequent. Yeah? Because if you feel for them, you can pray for them wherever you are. Yeah? For the men, they do encourage. Because men are more exposed, yeah, to the fitna. So it's good for the men to remember, yeah, their death and the death, so that they are more careful about what they do. Yeah? Now, Imam Qurtubi also said that the curse mentioned in the hadith is for those women who frequent visitors, as indicated by the intensive form of word zuwarat. Now, why? Because they will reflect some negative, yeah, feeling, yeah, in them and to the people who is still alive. Number one, the loss of some of their husband's right due to their frequent absence from the home. Yeah. If you keep on going there, your husband have right upon you, but now you always are, you are so sad all the time. You still think about the day. It may create some, yeah, family problem, relationship, yeah, between husband and wife. Number two, unnecessary public exposure. The Prophet did not want, yeah, the woman to expose themselves too often going outside. Number three, increased depression leading to wailing and other forbidden expression of grief. We feel sad, but we must know how to control and move on, because we have other living people who are still around us. We must be strong to guide them. If we are weak, we cannot help the family members. Yeah? The last part that I like to share with all of us is that, that the frequent visit is not recommended for the woman to visit the grave frequently, because they could lead to committing various prohibited acts such as veiling, display of beauty, adornment. Now people who go to the graveyard also, they are well dressed like going to, yeah, a party. Yeah? Turning the grave into recreation places, we bring a lot of flower and so on, and wasting the time in useless talk, and it is witnessed in some of the Muslim country today. Yeah? So this was approved and adopted by Shawkani also. Shawkani is one of the great scholars of hadith. Yeah? He wrote a book, collection of Majmu'at al-Hadith al-Mawdu'at, meaning the collection of false hadith. Yeah? This is the position that should be adopted in reconciling between the various hadith that may appear conflicting. Yeah? What that the Prophet do not allow is frequent visit for the woman. Yeah? Once a while, you are allowed to do so. Yeah? Inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us right understanding. In the future, if you want to visit the grave, make sure that you know what you have to do. The minimum that you can do is to give salam, and you want to visit the particular graveyard, you are allowed to do so. But always go there with the intention to pray and ask forgiveness for, yeah, the deceased. Don't ask them for anything that will commit shirk. Yeah? Don't ask the dead for anything, because the dead cannot help us anymore. The simple example that I like to give is, if you have a very close friend, a doctor who always help you, give you advice on how to, yeah, keep yourself fit and so on, suddenly he's no more then. Do you think you still go to him and say, oh, my doctor, you remember me, please, help me again, I have this problem, what is the best medication? He can't help you anymore. Yeah? Allah make it very clear. Yeah? وَلَا تَزِرُ وَزِرَةٌ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى, and وَأَلَيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانِ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى. Human will not get anything except what they have earned when they were still alive, and whatever sin or goodness that you have done is for you. You are responsible. Yeah? So you cannot even say to your friend or to your children, if you commit a sin, don't worry. I will take the full responsibility. You cannot say that. His sin is his sin. Your sin is your sin. But if you give them that kind of statement, you are misleading them, and you get double sin for that. Why? Because they are doing it because of what you say. Yeah? So you are giving the wrong guidance to them. You say, no problem. If you say this is bid'ah, I will be responsible. No. Bid'ah is bid'ah. If I commit it, I also commit a sin. But if you are the one who encouraged me, out of my ignorance, I may be free from my responsibility, I do not know. But you will be questioned by Allah, because you are the one who encouraged people to do bad things. Yeah? So may Allah help us, brothers and sisters. Please try to remind our close family members what to do if something happened to us. Or you just have a general discussion on and off. Yeah? We have a lot of discussion, especially when you have Raya gathering, and then those who are making Shawwal, after Shawwal 6 days you have another gathering. It's good, but please remind everybody about this. Yeah? If there's any question, now we open for Q&A. Fatafadda. Do you think that most of our children, our boys, are ready to lead for the funeral prayer? Yeah? Check with them. This is something we hope from them. We have sacrificed so much for them. In life they said, we have sweat for them. We have sacrificed so much. But what should we do after that? The 3 S's, they said, we sweat, we sacrifice so much for them. We must not forget to make supplication. Make dua. And dua always come giving advice, then make dua. Talk to them and make dua. And we want them to know how to make dua for us too. Yeah. Naam, any question from the sisters, inshallah? No question today, alhamdulillah. Yeah, we just want to alert all of us, because this 1 week we attended few funerals. We feel very sad. Yeah? A lot of people are not aware about the sunnah of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Before we end, brothers and sisters, to the sisters, don't forget our dinner. Yeah. Al-Khadim always try to organize, not every year, but 2 years once. We call it's just like Al-Khadim dinner for this coming September, on the 8th September, where our guest speaker is Mr. Khalid Basalama from Indonesia. It's a very good topic, a very unique topic. Telena di Salah Syurga. Yeah. So all the sisters, if you have friends and anybody that you are aware of, the form is there, yeah, that you all can participate directly or indirectly to help us, so that we can do a Sister Kartini. Yeah, Sister Kartini is one of the sisters in the committee members, and led by Sister Azwa and the family, the wife of Sister Brother Iskandar. So may Allah make it easy for all of us. Maybe, yeah, we will inform you about the next Wednesday class, because there is a conference in Jakarta first, for the Du'at, yeah, ASEAN level. So we were invited to participate. Yeah. It will be on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But if I will be going also, I would like to be back on the Friday night. Yeah. They will end Saturday, but I may not stay until the whole conference. There is starting from the 3rd of July. I've been contacting with our people just to make sure that everything is okay. Then I may be moving. That means we are leaving on Tuesday. If it's on Tuesday, so Wednesday class will not be on. So inshallah, yeah, for those who want to visit the grave at any time, don't forget, even the grave of the not yet Muslim, yeah, the Prophet never forbid. We will talk about that in the coming class, inshallah. If there's any changes, we will alert all of you. Yeah. But at present, there is the plan. If there's any changes, we will alert all the Jama'ah, inshallah. Yeah. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. You remember all this light poster is just 5 ringgit. Well, it's good to bring and also to present it to our friend, call them to put it in the room of the children. This is like acknowledgement of our weaknesses, like what all the prophets always acknowledge their mistake, and it helps a lot. Allah loves those who acknowledge their weaknesses. Keep you informed, inshallah, about class. Please. Oh, MashaAllah. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Yeah, thanks for the reminder of Sister Aisha that we forget to make tasbih kifarah. Yeah. Oh, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.